Hello, and welcome back to Crit and Crit, where the floor is lava. I'm Sin,
I'm Axiom.
and we are continuing our discussion of Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn: The Final Empire while we play through The Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Seasons.
Sophie is also here. So, we've gone pretty in-depth on this one.
I mean, that's our job.
Yeah. And that is my phone.
Well, while you're dealing with that, kind of a shame that Kelsier had to fall victim to the whole mentor occupational hazard situation.
I mean,
Granted, it's not as though he went out in the usual way. Most mentors don't, orchestrate their own demise to start a cult.
yeah. Yay, we got spring.
You harvested a Tigger? How could you be so cruel?
Look, we need rubber.
What is this, World War II rationing?
You work with what you got. But yes, we were talking about Kelsier for a second.
Yeah. Alright, so what I'm talking about is the tendency in a lot of fantasy sci-fi media for the mentor figure who takes the protagonist under their wing and shows them the ropes ain't gonna survive the series. Usually won't survive the first book. It's baked right into the hero's journey. We've seen it everywhere. We mentioned Star Wars last time. Why do you think Obi-Wan doesn't make it out of the hangar?
Or Qui-Gon doesn't make it out of the, out of the fight with Darth Maul in the prequels, or
Well, he does make it out, just not in one piece.
No, it's Darth Maul that doesn't make it out in one piece.
Okay, like we've said before, you're the Star Wars fan. I just think lightsabers are neat.
Yeah, Qui-Gon just gets stabbed. Darth Maul's the one that gets chopped in half. But anyway.
But yeah, anyway, the whole point is meant to be kind of a symbolic passing the baton of I have taught you all that I can, mostly because I am dead, and you must now carry on my mantle, carry on what I was trying to do for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Vin has a slightly more traumatic version of this, with the fact that we know that Kelsier had this plan, but Kelsier didn't exactly tell anyone about the plan because that might destabilize the plan to other people.
Also, he just tends to just not tell people his plans.
Yep, which is great when you're trying to be a mentor to somebody who has some of the worst trust issues you've ever seen. Like, Vin is still, by the end of the book, not over them, which is very realistic, but Kelsier kind of did not leave her in the best spot. But this kind of sort of brings me to a little bit more about Kelsier's character, which is to say, Kelsier is kind of the judge, not judge, Doctor Doom. There's too many things with Doom. Dr. Doom versus Galactus in this situation of, you have a lot of problems going on, you've got a lot of baggage to work through, and if we didn't have a bigger problem in the Lord Ruler and the absolute disaster of a society we're in, you would absolutely be a supervillain. And you have to specify, not just a regular villain, because as we've already mentioned, Kelsier knows about presentation. Actually, Kelsier and Megamind would get along way too well. That or kill each other, take your pick. What are you doing?
There's a password thing. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. Nope. I gotta figure it out later.
Okay.
Where does this go?
But yeah, you know what I mean with Kelsier there?
Yeah, he is, how did I refer to it before? He's a bit on the contrarian side, and he desperately needs a system to push against. And lacking a troublesome or problematic system like the tyranny of the Lord Ruler, we don't like that ring. He would find a system to oppose just out of the sake of finding something to do.
Yep, before he officially made himself a part of the rebellion and irritated the heck out of his brother who actually believed in the rebellion, whereas Kelsier was kind of joining it out of revenge and spite, as we've already gone over. Kelsier entertained himself by basically being Bruce Wayne, but mixed with Catwoman. He has the noble playboy sort of life, lives it up, but then he's a master thief. Just gonna go steal stuff for the sake of it, prove I can.
Okay, apparently you can only wear one ring at a time, but now I have the box so I can switch them around.
Yeah. And his crew even remarks on the fact that, yeah, he had stolen enough money that he could have lived very, very comfortably for the rest of his life, but always gotta do one more. Gotta keep going better and bigger and just can't stop.
Yep. And it's not even like you compared him to Bruce Wayne, but that's a very tentative comparison, very only surface level, because Kelsier isn't, especially prior to the start of the book and prior to him going to the Pits of Hashen, was not a super no, wrong house. Was not the most generous person doing this sort of thing out of the kindness of his heart or for a good cause like Bruce
You're
Wayne.
right. Tony Stark.
Yeah, he's more Tony Stark, where he's like, I'm doing this because I'm bored, and because I'm good at it, and because it makes me awesome.
Yeah, as you might have guessed, I'm not the most up on comics either.
Right.
I am a nerd, but not that kind.
But yeah, you get my point, right?
Yeah, he's too selfish to be compared to Bruce Wayne, even though I would say that Bruce Wayne is also pretty selfish, depending on the adaptation. Because remember, the whole point is he's supposed to be prove I'm Batman. You can't.
Aw, they need some money. Speaking of Bruce Wayne, we're going to be generous and give them some money. There. Now the baby won't be sick, hopefully.
Yeah. But, yeah, like, it's kind of hard to call Kelsier out for much that he does in this book in the context of it is very much for a greater good because, well, the Lord Ruler does have things in an absolutely unlivable state for most of the Ska. Like, you keep your head down because you don't want to die, but you're barely able to get by when you do that. And, yeah, that's just kind of how things are under an oppressive fascist regime. So Kelsier does have his heart, well, his intentions in the right spot, at least with regard to we need to get rid of him, and I want to inspire the Ska to stand up for themselves because they need to do it. We outnumber them, we just need to realize that and get in motion.
Yep, and I hate to put it this way, but him going to the Pits of Hashen was actually for the better for him, because yes, it was a horrible suffering situation, and it resulted in Mare's death. But it also made him a better person. It made him less selfish. It made him less solely interested in his own welfare, and actually gave him a reason to put himself against the Lord Ruler as a cruel and malicious leader, rather than just taking advantage where he could of stripping the nobility of wealth for his own gain.
I'm going to debate that. So, you remember what he was doing when he got sent to the pits?
He was going in to rob the Lord Ruler.
Yep, trying to find something that could be used to take him down. So probably helping out with the rebellion in some regard, but also it's going to be a challenge. So probably went in just to do it for his own ego. And I believe his change of heart is more about, now I have the power to do something about it, but mostly, you took everything from me, you took my wife from me, I'm going to take it all from you and dress it up nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying that he is a truly benevolent and generous person.
No, but you're saying he got a better purpose. I'm saying he didn't. It's still about him. It's still for his own gain, because what he wants now is revenge.
Okay, let me rephrase then. I think it helped in that it put him on a path that is beneficial to others besides just him.
Yes, that I think is more accurate, because we know it's not just about the greater good, because he's so far off the deep end with this that even Marsh, who was in charge of the rebellion, calls him out on killing Ska, who were just trying to take a job that would keep their families alive, which meant doing guard duty for nobles. Kelsier thinks that's guilt by association enough to kill them.
Right.
Which, no.
Where did that teleporter pop out?
So yeah, I don't think Kelsier really changed all that much, other than you shoved me in a locker, but now I have studied the blade myself. Like, he's lashing out against a bully who very much earns it, but that doesn't make him innately a good person.
Correct. And I would agree to that.
And like we've mentioned several times, even his crew questions his motives, because again, he doesn't tell anybody his actual plans except for Sir, for obvious reasons, but that does mean that when he starts playing to the crowds, really pushing the whole 11th Metal and Survivor of Halfshin stuff, his crew is pretty convinced that this is about his ego. Which he says it's not, but...
I was about to say, I don't buy that. I think that it's a situation where he is doing something that is for the better in general, but that's not his goal. That's not the reason he's doing it. He's doing it for his own purposes, for his own ego, and to make a name for himself long term.
Yep. And he succeeds with flying colors on that count, because not only does he make sure that the rebellion continues, because everybody's inspired by his faked return from the dead, Vin is inspired by this and wants to make sure he doesn't die in vain, so she goes after the Lord Ruler and kills him that night. And Sazed takes down all of the notes on his religion because, well, Vin argues, but we knew him, he was just a man. So were most of these prophets that I know about. That's how it gets started. What'd they take this time?
Nothing.
Nothing
of mine,
anyway.
anyway. I'm not sure where to go next, because it said to take the ore back, but I don't appear to have the ore anymore, and when I tried to take the ore back to those guys, it didn't do anything.
But yeah, Kelsier is an extremely intelligent, extremely motivated, and extremely powerful individual who, even before he had the superpowers that he has today, knows exactly how to test the system to its breaking point for maximum chaos and how to benefit from that chaos. That is a skill set that you can use either for good or for evil, and, well, Kelsier will do whatever Kelsier wants to do. I still say if he didn't have a person like the Lord Ruler to push up against, he would very quickly become not much better than Strathventure.
And
people are toys to be used, and I'm going to use them however I can. I don't think he's quite that bad, but he's not really much better than it. Now, this does not make him not entertaining. Like, he's still very fun to read about, but I would not want a Kelsier in my life. Wouldn't that just be exhausting? Like, just imagine, it's time for the holidays, it's Thanksgiving, we go around what we're thankful for, and Kelsier just goes off on some tangent about how he's the best.
I think it would be frustrating, to say the least. Whoa. That thing is fast. Okay. That is going to be tricky.
Yeah, it gets kind of hard to really take into context a lot of the actions of the group because, like, they do some pretty nasty stuff to the nobles. Like, they single-handedly start a house war just on the power of rumors, and, well, they're already scheming against each other anyway, let's just push them in the right direction. A lot of people, like, entire houses get wiped out because of what they start. And it's a very gray situation, because, no, it's not good what they're doing, but it is in service of something that is greater overall to a larger number of people. So it gets hard to call them out as being evil with this, even though they're not doing the best stuff.
And I mean, there's some parallels that could be made to real life of at what point does it become necessary to do bad things to bad people in order to stop them from doing bad things to good people, or even just neutral, innocent people. And that's a question that the people have struggled with for quite a long time.
Yep, and, well, we've kind of seen what happens with Lord of the Flies. When you're playing by the rules, but the people who are hurting people are refusing to acknowledge the rules, what good are the rules anymore, because they're not helping anyone? But at the same time, you very much risk being seen as, well, what makes you any better? You're not following the rules either. Mm-hmm. And then we get into very specific rhetoric things that gets very individualistic, and, to say the least. It's going to depend on the person for a lot of the stuff, which is unfortunate, because some things you would think would just be universal and obvious, and yet they're not, but I'll leave it at that. It's a happy bear. But, yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say here.
I think that is a good place to wrap this whole thing up. We've got the key, we've got Moosh back. We just need to make our way back to the actual dungeon.
Alright.
And we will be back in the future. With the next book in the series, because there's a lot more Mistborn to go.
Yep. Bye.
Ah, it's the other guy. We'll leave it off here. See y'all then.